Hello and welcome to the University of Chester's virtual campus tour. I'm Zoe, one of the HE advisors here at the University of Chester, and today we are going to be hearing all about the Humanities side of our Faculty of Arts and Humanities. This includes the Department of History and Archaeology, Modern Languages, English and Theology and Religious Studies. These are all taught at our Parkgate Road campus, Chester. If you have any questions today, please feel free to ask them in the live chat. We have a whole host of students and staff ready and waiting to help you. Later, I'll be joined on the sofa by some of our students to hear about their experiences of living and studying at the University of Chester. We'll also have the chance to introduce you to our great campus facilities and examples of our accommodation. Firstly, let's go over to our academic staff who are going to show you the facilities that we use to teach our programmes.
Hello, I'm Professor Paul Johnson and I'm Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Humanities. I'd like to welcome you to our Parkgate Road campus, which is home to our Departments of English, History and Archaeology, Modern Languages and Theology and Religious Studies. I'm going to hand over to some colleagues now who are going to show you some of our specialist facilities.
Hi, my name's Barry. I'm one of the senior lecturers in archaeology at the Department of History and Archaeology here at Chester, and this is our Archaeology Laboratory. So this is where we teach some of the more practical and scientific aspects of our course, and it's also a space where students can work on their own research projects as part of dissertations. So one of the things we teach in here is the archaeology of human remains. So this is where students learn how to identify the different bones of the human body, lay them out in their correct anatomical order, and then analyse them in order to be able to estimate the age of the person when they died, their biological sex, and maybe also look for changes in the bones, in the structure of the bones that might come about through periods of ill health or injury in the past. And then the students would bring that information together and interpret that in order to understand more about the population that these skeletons come from. So in this case, we're looking at skeletons from an excavation that was carried out in Chester in the 1970s, a site called Greyfriars Court, and it dates to the late 12th and early 13th centuries. It gives us a really nice idea about the health and the life of people in medieval Chester. The other thing we teach in the lab is environmental archaeology. So this is where students learn how to analyse samples that we take from archaeological sites and then use that to reconstruct something about the environments that people lived in. And what we'd normally do is we would, start of the year, we would take students out on a field trip, we would go collect samples from an archaeological site, normally one that's part of our own research, and then we'd bring them back here to the lab, and students would learn how to break those samples down, record them, extract the materials that they want from them, and then they'd go into other parts of the lab and they'd learn how to record those pieces, analyse material, and then use that to sort of reconstruct the environmental conditions that people lived in. So the sorts of plants that might have been around, something about the environment and maybe the climate that people lived in. The other thing we use the lab for is to record and analyse material culture, so artefacts from our own excavations that we work on usually with the students, and I've got some really nice examples here. This is my favourite artefact that we've ever found. It's a projectile point. It's made from a piece of red deer antler. I don't know if you can just see along the edges of it. It's got a series of barbs or serrations along the edge. It's probably used as the tip of an arrow, and it's made from red deer antler, and it's around about 11,000 years old. It belongs to a period that we call the Mesolithic or the Middle Stone Age. This projectile point, they're incredibly rare in this country. This one was actually found by one of our undergraduates on one of our excavations. And what was really nice is that with this, we also found pieces of red deer antler as well. So this is one of the tines of a red deer antler, so it's one of the pointy bits that sticks up from the antler itself. And it shows evidence of having been used to make the raw material, or the blanks, from which this projectile point's been produced. And what's really nice about this is it gives us the idea that people aren't just making these projectile points, they go off, they're using them in the landscape, and then they come back to this particular location and they sort of deposit them along with the remains of the animals that they've made them from. Now, this is a really nice example of how we try and integrate our own research into our teaching. So the excavation is directed by myself and another member of staff, Dr. Amy Gray-Jones. We involve students in the excavations, And then, as far as possible, within some of the practical parts of our course, we also involve students in the analysis of the materials that we recover. So in this particular case, it was an excavation in a peat bog in North Yorkshire, and students on our environmental archaeology module analysed the samples that were taken from the trenches where this material came from, and they were able to show that this peat bog had previously been a lake, and the area where these artefacts had been deposited was actually an area of standing water. And we know from other sites that water is a really important element within sort of prehistoric sort of beliefs and ritual practices. And so from the work that the students have been doing, we've been able to suggest that this is probably material that's like ritually deposited into the edge of the lake around about 11,000 years ago.
Hello, I'm Mark Gant. I'm the head of Modern Languages, and this is the Binks building, which is where most of our teaching is based. So here's one of our language labs. There's some more seminar rooms just opposite. As we come down, there's another language lab just here. Our third lab is round the corner, so I'm going to take you through there now. Okay, so this is our largest language lab. This is 104. And you can see the layout. So on one side, we have the computers, and on the other side, we have tables where we can sit and do group work. So they're good spaces for a really varied session where we might meet first of all here, we might go and do some individual work online, and we might come back and share what we've been doing around the tables again. So it's fairly typical of the sort of sessions that we have in these rooms. Now, this building also houses our offices, so we're just upstairs. And you're really welcome to come and see us any time. We have what we call an open door policy, which means that students can just bang on our door, and if we're not immediately urgently busy, we'll see you there and then. Also upstairs, we have our student room. So that has some comfy seats, it has some workstations, a table, and that can be used for group work, or it can be used for social sessions as well. So also upstairs, we have another small space, a small room, which we use for conversation classes. So that's where you'll meet with native speakers to chat. And one thing that's really important here at Chester that we really value is that we meet together in smaller groups. We never pack you into a big lecture theatre for languages. So rooms like this, you'll be in groups of about 10 to 15. And that means that contact is really personal, that we can always see what you're doing, that you get to know each other really well.
Hi, I'm Sarah Heaton, Head of the Department of English, and this is the Vicarage, our home. Would you like to come inside? This is our beautiful vicarage where you'll enjoy studying, but we also have all our offices where you'll be able to join us for one-to-one tutorials and PAT meetings. This is our small lecture theatre here in the vicarage. You'll also be taught in seminar rooms in the vicarage, but also on campus there are the larger lecture theatres for the first year teaching, as well as specialist language labs. We also though use the vicarage for our community events. We've got a really strong sense of community here in the English department. We've got an English society. We also hold things like open mic nights in here, where lecturers will come along and read some of their own work, but also students do, and the students run it.
Hi there, my name is Paul Middleton and I'm Professor of New Testament and Early Christianity here at the Theology and Religious Studies Department at the University of Chester. And this is the home of our department, Hollybank. Hollybank is a 19th century school which has been renovated, and this building houses all of the department's facilities. So all of the staff offices are here. There's a computer resource lab, there's a kitchen, there's some social space, and all of your lectures will be held here. We've got 3 lecture rooms, and let me just show you one of them now. So this is one of our lecture rooms. This is actually our medium-sized classroom. Our large-scale one is where you'll have all your big classes, but we find that we like to have tutorials and smaller groups, and these rooms are ideal for it. So one of the real advantages with Hollybank, having all of the facilities, the classrooms and the staff offices in one place, is there's a real sense of community. It means that we can bump into one another in the corridor or stop for a coffee in the social space. And the students really value that. So here in Hollybank, there's a real sense of community in the Theology and Religious Studies Department at the University of Chester.
I'm now joined on the sofa by two of our current students. We first up have Kirsty, who is studying history.
Hi everyone.
And we also have John, who is studying law.
Hi guys.
But before we start quizzing you about what it's like to be a student here at the University of Chester, we're just going to take a look at our university life tours with you, Kirsty, at our Parkgate Road campus.
Hi, my name's Kirsty and I study history. Today I'm going to show you around the University of Chester's Parkgate Road campus. Come and have a look around. Parkgate Road is where you'll find many of the university's central facilities, with the main library, sports facilities, student accommodation and the Students' Union all located on campus. It's everything you need, all in one place. In the centre of Binks you'll find our info point, filled with approachable staff here to offer you help and guidance whenever you need it. We also have our brasserie and grab-and-go Starbucks, perfect for that time you want to take a break. Next we'll head on over to the library. Seabourn Library is the main university's library and it is in the heart of the Parkgate Road campus. As well as a variety of books, journals and online resources, the library also offers bookable study pods, perfect for group or individual study. There's also 24-hour access computer suites, perfect for those late-night study sessions. The library is also staffed with subject-specific librarians that are on hand to help with whatever you need. There's also a cafe downstairs, ideal for that well-earned study break. Opposite the library, we have bookable study spaces available for both staff and students. You just book it online and then you have a guaranteed workspace. Chester Student Union is also located on campus. Our students elect who they'd like to be their officers and they then represent the students' voice about issues inside or outside the university. The Students' Union is here to support you on campus, whether you're looking for guidance or help with societies. I'm part of the History Society and I found it so helpful to make friends here on campus. The SU is a fun, relaxed space. We have lots of different places for staff and students to eat on campus. Our gourmet burger house offers a selection of mouth-watering New York-style burgers, all made with delicious, locally sourced ingredients. Next to the Students' Union, we have the Hub, which has an imaginative menu with lots of different meals, whatever your dietary requirements are. What's even better is that the Hub has its own wok bar and pizzeria, and all of the dishes are made with fresh, natural ingredients. If you fancy meeting up with friends on campus, then the bar is the perfect place to do just that. Whether you're in the mood to try out a new cocktail or just unwind and play a game of pool, the relaxed, chilled atmosphere makes this the ideal place to hang out. Parkgate Road has many sports facilities on campus. This is the fitness suite where there are qualified personal trainers here to offer you help and guidance whenever you need it. We have a variety of different membership options available to suit all sorts of different lifestyles and budgets. The fitness suite has over 100 pieces of equipment and is also where you'll find our 25-metre swimming pool, spin studio and dance studio. At the bottom of our campus, you'll find a multifunctional sports hall that staff and students can alter the space of depending on the type of sport they want to play. Near to the sports hall, we have the floodlit AstroTurf, used frequently by our sports teams for sports such as hockey or lacrosse. We also have a floodlit 3G mugger pitch, which is great for sports such as football or rugby. Next to this, we have the 60-metre running tracks and both tennis and squash courts. And finally, our Parkgate Road campus is home to the Careers and Employability Department. They are on hand to give you help with your career planning, whether that's mock interviews or looking over your CV. It's for people that are currently here or graduates for up to 2 years after graduation. Thank you for joining me on this tour around Parkgate Road campus. We hope to see you soon.
So as I said, Kirsty and John are both currently studying here at the University of Chester. So we are here today to talk to them about their experiences studying and also living here in Chester. So let's start off with why you chose to come to the University of Chester.
I'll take that one. Well, I chose the University of Chester mainly because it gives me sort of a home feeling. I'm from a very small island in the Caribbean, and just coming here and just being able to see the same faces over and over again is just like, felt like I was sort of solidified in the university already.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And yourself, Kirsty?
Yeah, so I really liked the city itself. I think it's just filled with so many beautiful things. You've got the river where you can go on a pedalo, you can walk the Roman walls, and it's not too big. It's small enough you can walk everywhere. As somebody that doesn't drive, it's a perfect city for me.
100%, I definitely feel the same about the whole driving thing. It means that we're not adding to the pollution as well, which is great. You get to walk everywhere or go on your bike or anything like that. So you both said about it being quite a small place to live or anything like that. Would you say that helped you with the jump up to coming into university, living on your own and things like that?
Yeah, well, I think it definitely helped me. I think where it's such a small campus, and as John was saying, you really get to know the faces around you, it's meant that I've been able to get to know my lecturers a wee bit quicker. So then they really offer tutorials to you and options to you, and it helps you settle in and feel comfortable within your environment.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah, and I can concur with what Kirsty said. Just having that small feeling, you know, it's like you always have that help that you need. For example, you know, whenever I had an issue, I can go to Student Futures and I can speak to one of the ladies there, and she remembers my name. So every time I go there, just like, oh, John can help you. So it's just that, you know, all those little things sort of helps, you know, stepping up from school to university.
Yeah, so it helps give you a real community feel, I suppose,
Yeah.
yeah? Because it can be quite scary, can't it, when you're coming from either college or sixth form, coming up to a university. So how did you feel specifically supported by your lecturers in your departments?
Well, I can touch on that. Well, particularly with my PAT, she's been a massive help, you know, with my entire studies and ensuring that I have the necessary tools to be able to take on life after university, particularly setting me up into different programs. For example, going to London to do a Lincoln's Inn dinner to meet barristers and judges. So things like that sort of does help you, just having a small sort of campus where you're just being able to just talk and meet all your lecturers, not having to be all over the different, you know, parts of the campus.
Yeah, perfect. And while we're there, can you just give us a little bit more information about how it works with your PAT, just for people who maybe don't know?
Well, basically your PAT is your personal academic tutor, and what that person is sort of your liaison whilst you're at university. If you have any sort of academic issues or any personal issues, they are your best go-to for references once you leave university. So it's always best to have a great relationship with your PAT, because you don't want to send an email to someone and be like, oh, can you write me a reference? And then they don't know who you are. So I think it's best to always have that good relationship.
Even if it's just a quick cup of tea to say hello and check in.
Or just a knock on the door to say, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, which is nice that you can just knock on the door and say, hey, I'm here, by the way. Perfect. And yourself, Kirsty?
Yeah, so I just think with the smaller campus, as John's already touched on with the PATs, but it's not even just your allocated PAT that you can go to. All of the lecturers offer these tutorial times, and it is supposed to be there so you can run through either your plans for assignments or any struggles that you're having. But it is just that time to go in and have a conversation. At the moment, I'm trying to think about where I'm going in the future, and I've spoken to so many different lecturers who are just there to support you and give you ideas, especially on Zoom at the moment, just with a cup of tea. It's quite nice.
How would you say that your time at Chester has really shaped your career ambitions then? Who wants to go first?
Well, I'll take that on with Kirsty giving me the look. Basically, being here at the University of Chester has put me in a position to be able to look at my career goals more clearly. I was assisted by one of my lecturers in putting me forward for a a Lincoln's Inn dinner. Basically, it's where you go down, you meet barristers and judges and stuff like that. And you get to have conversations with them and just get a bit of insight as to what it is exactly that you're going to be taking on in the future. And just being able to do that sort of made it much more easier for me to say, okay, yeah, this is something that I really want to do, and I think this is going to be the future for me. So that was joined by the careers team and with the liaison from the law school, which is one of my lecturers. So she basically put this together. We had to put ourselves forward for the best candidates, and luckily I was one of them. And I went on to London, this very, very beautiful building, and we got to interact with all types of judges, being from high courts, Supreme Courts, and things like that. So it was really good having done that.
Nice.
Yeah, so John seems to have a wee bit more direction than me, but I have found that before I came to university, I really wasn't sure about what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to do this degree, but the department, the Humanities department, has really let me sort of explore my options. We've done archival work, we've volunteered at museums, we've been able to get all these different opportunities with us. But as John was saying earlier, that careers and employability team, they are so helpful. I've gone for many one-to-ones with them, and it's just opened up all these new job ideas that I've never even thought of. So I still want to continue in academia, but at least I now have more thoughts as to what I want to do.
Oh, lovely. Have you used any of the other support services at the university?
Well, I have. I've gone for the Careers Employability Fund. Basically, it's this fund that you basically apply for. It's £500, and they put it towards anything that you think personally would help you to enhance your career. And I used that to go for a French course last year, which was really good. I got to go over my French skills from when I was in school and now, but sadly, I didn't get to finish, so because of circumstances, but it was really, really helpful. And they've put something in this year where you can go on and do that again. So having done the Careers and Employability Fund set me up a bit more in comparison to other students who may be going for a job when I go for that job. So I think that's quite helpful.
Yeah, lovely.
I think adding on to the different sort of teams that are there for you, I know there's learning and support, and they're normally around in the library, and I found them so helpful when I first turned up to help me sort of with how you do your referencing or where you find journals, what books will be helpful. And I know the library team themselves have subject-specific librarians that are just on hand to help you go through your research and figure out what sort of systems you can use.
Yeah, perfect. Have any of you joined any sports or societies during your time at Chester?
Yeah, so I joined History Society last year, and I'm currently on the committee now, and I've just found it so helpful to make friends with like-minded people, and it's actually been really nice because we have sort of like charity events that we do, and last year we raised money for Chester Aid to the Homeless by a pub quiz, and it's just that social environment, but you're also doing something good alongside it, and I've genuinely loved my time with that society.
Well, I've sort of, I am a part of the tennis society, as well as the mooting club in the law school. I think tennis society is quite great because some days you can be stressed out with classes and all the coursework that you've got going on. And just being able to hit a few, rackets and balls over the net every now and then sort of helps you out to just release some of that stress. But that also being in the mooting club is also great because it gets to makes you practice your advocacy skills, especially if you want to be a barrister or want to be in the legal field, just want to be able to publicly speak in front of anybody. I think that's really good, and I think that sort of shaped me a great deal whilst being here at the university.
And would you say that being part of a sport or society has not only helped you socially, personally, but also with your academia, in terms of have you gained any skills to help you with your career in the future, anything like that?
Yeah, so I feel like the History Society, it's kind of not only allowed me to discuss with fellow peers about what they are wanting to do in the future, how they are going about it, but we've also done sort of like walking tours and visits to museums and things, and you just get closer to the community, and it's allowed us to explore the public history field of things, and it sort of ignited an interest in me to take people on walking tours. So I think even if there's not anything explicitly like, because of this, we're going to look at this, it just allows you to explore options a lot more in a chilled environment.
Mm-hmm. I'd say like being in a tennis society, like you've said there, it's quite good because you do get that social aspect, especially if you're coming to university for the first time and you don't really know anybody. You get to meet all these people who have similar interests to what you do, whether it be playing tennis, or you might meet someone on the tennis society who's from your course, and you can say, oh, I'm doing this, and then you can have a chat with them. So it sort of creates this sort of social bubble for you, and you don't have to necessarily break out of your shell just that yet, because you've got that initial interest within someone else from a different society. And also with the Mooting Club as well, like Kirsty's mentioned, it's just the fact that you've been able to further go into depth into what your prospective career might be. With law, it's looking into case law, it's being able to recite case law, it's being able to use the language that you use within a court. So all these sort of things sort of ties in. Whether it may seem different, but it does ties in quite well, and it helps you with your journey whilst you're here.
Lovely, thank you very much. So one last question for you. I'd just like to know, what is the biggest thing you're going to take away from your Chester experience with you?
Would you like to start this one?
Well, I think the biggest thing I'll take from my Chester experience is to be a bit more organized. I am organized, but not enough, especially with the department that I belong to, where there's a lot of reading, there's a lot of extra reading, there's a lot of stuff you need to do behind the background. And going into the career field that I am going into, that's something that you do really need to be able to be organized. And I think being here and having that university experience itself sort of solidified that that is something that I do need to work on, and I am currently working on it before we come to the end of my studies here at Chester.
Yeah, so I think I'm unfortunately going to be a wee bit cliche, but what I'm taking from the university is confidence, is happiness with what I'm doing. Before I turned up to university, I was so confused with where my life was going. I was having an existential crisis every day, but now I've got here, I've really found my place. I found what I want to do, and the support, the teams around you have just given me enough confidence to go out and get it. Never did I think I would be volunteering to answer some questions for people, but here I am, and it's because of the community at the University of Chester.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much anyway for all of your answers, and to finish on that was perfect. Thank you so much. It's been lovely to talk to you today anyway. Thanks again. Accommodation is a really important aspect of your time at university, and something that a lot of you have asked to see. So let's take a look at some examples.
At Chester, all university-owned or partnership accommodation is located on or close by the Parkgate Road campus. It's just a stone's throw away from the city centre and within walking distance to our academic sites. We offer a range of accommodation types and different styles, from small self-contained houses to large traditional halls of residence. So whether it's a shared kitchen or studio, or ensuite or shared bathroom that you're after, we have something to suit you. We also offer full board, semi-catered and self-catered accommodation. So if cooking isn't your strong point, why not let us do it for you and dine at the hub? There are also a range of partnership and private sector accommodation options in and around Chester for you to choose from, like the brand new student accommodation complex Tudor Place, located just a short 5-minute walk from the Parkgate Road campus.
Does anyone actually commute in, or do you both live here?
I live in Chester.
I live on campus as
You
well.
both live on campus, all right, perfect, yeah. And what student accommodation do you currently live in?
Yeah, so I live on the towpath, which I got through Student Roost, and it's beautiful. It's on the canal, there's lovely walks around, but I really chose it because it gives you a double bed, it gives you an ensuite, but you also get that shared kitchen so you can meet other students and still socialise, and it's really not that far from campus.
And John, what student accommodation have you lived in?
Well, I did live in on the Parkgate Road campus accommodations is just right off from the university. I currently live in a private accommodation, but my first year I lived in the Glenesk House. It's a little farm cottage out in the Chester on the Parkgate Road campus. At first I was like, why are we here? But then it sort of like, it's really good because you get that peace and quiet in comparison to all the other houses, which are very close knit to each other, and people might be partying and stuff like that. But as I, progressed into the year, I went into private accommodation, which made it that much easier for me because I can choose what I want, and I think that was really good for me as well.
Have you got any advice for any students that are looking for accommodation at all?
I'll touch on Kirsty's point. I think if you are the type of person that likes to be on your own, go for a private accommodation. But if you're looking for a person, you're the type of person that may be not so confident and you want to make friends within your first year so that you can carry that on towards your final year, I would advise that you take on university-owned accommodation, maybe a shared accommodation, or even in halls, because you get to meet people of like minds and like interests and stuff like that. For me personally, first year I've done university-owned accommodation, and I've met people that I personally can say I can see myself being friends with after university, so that's quite good.
Well, I've really enjoyed talking to you both today, so thank you very much for your help today, Kirsty.
Thank you.
And you as well, John. Thank you very much for today.
Thank you very much.
That brings us to the end of our virtual campus tour today. We hope you've had a real insight into the University of Chester and what it's like to be a student here. However, if you do have any questions at all, please feel free to pop over to our website. You can speak to our students there via Unibuddy. So if you do have any questions, ask away. And finally, from me, thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you very soon.